thing on.
No.
You me do all that real good. I've tried.
Yeah, I tried too. We'll ad-lib it.
I just didn't want to reference it too much.
Right. All right. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. And I'll probably run this just a tad bit different like I did last time. So if everybody would, if you can put your cell phones on silent mode, that would be great. In the event that there is an emergency, I need someone to be designated to be the 911 caller.
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
Yep.
Okay. AEDs down on the first floor in front of the American, I'll say not American Legion, but the Legion Vets office. Who would go get the AED in case we need it?
I'll do that too.
Okay. The rally point is, I noticed downstairs on the wall coming in is the First National Bank. We'll need to change that sometime, so we'll try to make a note of that. It is actually the Vermilion County Annex building, so that's where we'll rally in case there is a fire, bad weather, or an earthquake. So I need a leader to lead us out there. Kelly, can you do that?
Sure.
And then Marty, I'll have you bring up the end of the line. So I don't know if anybody has a flashlight or anything, but I think we can find our way down using our cell phones, yeah.
I gotta go get the AED, so I'll be the first one out the door.
Okay, all right.
Big call.
All right. So meet us
Scott
out there.
can- yeah, I'll tell you what, we're gonna change this. I'd like to make one request to change that. He's a runner. Have him, he can get the AED, I'll call 911.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
you got it.
Just a little bit of history from the years past, my upbringing, I guess, a little bit. So let's all stand and have pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll just welcome everybody to the first meeting of the year, which is 2024.
Yay.
So, all right, so Marty Brown,
Here.
Jeff Bose,
Here.
and Miss Brown,
Here.
and Mr. Summerfield,
Here.
and Neil Costello.
Here.
And we will make a comment that Ashley's home due to surgery, and she's not up to par right now, so she's with us in spirit. So next on our list tonight is the approval of the minutes from December 11th. So please review those again, and if there's any corrections or whatever, let us know. And then when you're ready, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I just see something on the agenda, just what I've been
Okay.
doing, just 2024, January 2024.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you
I'm
very
still
much.
doing that too, so.
Just one correction, I was late to that meeting, so it does say all present. So in the beginning, it appears that I was at the meeting, but there was no. Yeah, I guess, maybe just.
And I was just a little earlier arriving than Neil, so I was late too, so.
Just so it doesn't appear that I voted or didn't vote on some things.
I think the only thing that we really missed was the.
I abstained on the last vote, so.
All right. Anything else anybody noticed?
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right, got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Monthly treasurer's report. I kind of like just kind of giving a quick summary here. The month-ending balance, I'll just say, on December 29th of 2023, total charges of $34,984,793.28. And that also is the same number as our credits. All right, it's information only. You also have in front of you the quarterly comp time report, also the transfer. Well, let's just do that first. All right, we have transfer of funds. There are two that we need to vote on. And we'll do those individually. We have a request for transfer of funds approval from account number 4203 from the DOC reimbursement. It's jail maintenance, transferring from jail maintenance in the amount of $12,595 to capital outlays of $12,595. And it says jail maintenance would like to buy a riding lawnmower. I don't know if there's anybody here from the jail. I don't see anyone. I guess a couple questions that I would have is who's been doing it in the past, and do we have a mower already, and what are we doing with the old mower? They have a push mower, and that's what they've been.
For the whole property?
The inmates been pushing it.
I'm not sure who's been doing it.
I'm not sure how much they're required to mow. The highway department's there too. I don't know who's,
I
how
can say I don't know
inside
either.
the fence or outside, I don't know.
I can say I think the inmates have been doing it, so I think I've seen them out there doing it before.
I would
Good
assume that'd be
exercise.
a type of equipment they'd be allowed to operate.
I don't know. I assume since they're asking,
And we haven't ever contracted it out.
I don't know, Mike.
I mean, that price for a mower seems to be average for a big mower.
I agree.
It's nice to keep it local at M&M, but, so I assume that they would be mowing it themselves or at the inmates.
I guess we could table this and find out a little bit more before. I mean, they're not going to be mowing tomorrow. Pardon?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mowing right now.
Yeah, they're not going to be mowing tomorrow,
Snowplow.
so I think probably be prudent to have a little bit more information.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice if maybe Mike or somebody come in and explain why.
I would imagine if they're gonna go from a push mower that the inmates use to a 60-inch zero-turn commercial grade mower, that somebody else will be using that,
I would think so.
so
Next question would be why?
faster.
Yeah. So, are you in agreement that we'll just table this
Yes.
temporarily? Okay. We'll bring that up. Another one in here we need to consider is a request for transfer of funds, the highway general, and this is basically just to cover the 2024's insurance bill for highway and workman's comp was paid out of 2023's budget, so it's already been paid. Is that correct? So we're looking at an amount of $9,559.39. So I don't see any reason why we should not do this.
We have to, don't we?
Yep.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Jeff made a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, we also have a few here that are transfer of funds that are reporting only. So you have those in your packet if you'd like to review.
quite a few of them.
Mhm. Pardon?
That's what happens at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, these are in same series,
Yes.
so they do not require council approval to do this. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay.
They're still in the series.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
I just got a text from Jim Ringsby saying that he does the mowing at the highway, or at the jail. And it's about 20 acres.
I can say it's a
He
bunch.
doesn't push one?
20.
No, he probably has they're probably
No.
replacing or trading in a mower, I think.
It was Jim, he's the maintenance guy at the jail.
I'm not even sure that one's big enough for 20 acres. Got a golf course.
Apparently he's mowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the maintenance person
Right.
at the jail.
A new guy.
But
New last year.
do we know if they're replacing the zero turn?
I don't know.
I mean, surely they've had something to mow 20 acres with.
Ask him if they're trading in Pem, Texas.
Even if you used inmates to use a push mower, you'd probably go through one a week. 20
20
acres.
acres, but, yeah.
You'd be using more than one inmate,
Wear
I'm
it out
afraid.
every week.
Rehab.
And Ashley also texted me and suggested that we keep it tabled to make sure that this doesn't need to go in front of the commissioners since it's an asset.
True. Good point.
Yeah, I think anything over $5,000 on a piece of equipment, is there a
Yes,
minimum?
it's $5,000.
Is
Yeah.
it $5,000? Okay.
That
So
escaped
it's
me.
12, this is
Okay.
beyond 12,000, so okay.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Well, it's good information.
Thank you all who are responding. All right, I don't think I missed anything. Now we have some additional appropriations. We have an additional appropriation from Economic Development. It wasn't advertised in the original budget. We missed it. Is that correct? And so now we'd like to appropriate this money. We have a line item 40,000. Capital outlays is the name of the budget, and the amount is $100,000. The fund name and number is 1150 revolving loan fund. I know we have a comment in our packet, if you want to refer to that.
The one for 100, or the $100,000 is the first one we're considering?
Yes. Again, this is economic development. This would have normally, was it discussed during? It was discussed during the budget. We just didn't get it advertised. Yeah.
The fund wasn't in
Correct.
It
We
was-
just made the new fund last year.
So it's just kind of more of a formality.
It had been in their budget before, but it was pulled out into a separate fund.
Right.
So just putting it back in that fund?
Putting it
yeah,
back,
I mean,
but
we're
not-
appropriating them, the money is there, cash is there, but just because it got pulled out, it got overlooked. They've had this they've had this in budgets before. It was just part of their regular budget, so it got moved so we could track it better.
It was in the 1149
Yes.
and the line item So to track it a little bit easier, we took it out of 1149, made a new fund, 1150.
Mhm.
So it's easier to track it, it's got its own fund. But since it was a new fund, it got missed in the budget hearings and didn't get budgeted.
They're able to loan this money out, and then when it's repaid, they can reloan it out.
Correct.
Yeah, and it was hard to keep, because it was commingled with the other money, it was harder
Yeah.
to track how much of that money was home repayment versus other money that came in, which was the idea of separating it.
Yep. Yep.
Make a motion.
Okay, motion by Kelly.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Marty. I have a motion by Mr. Summerfield and a second by Mr. Brown. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passes 6-0. All right, I also have I guess the next one here would be fund name and number is 1,000 general fund. This is decreased during budget hearings, should not have been decreased due to being paid by Park County. I'll say we're looking at the amount of $1,800. Again, this is just trying to fix a couple things from our budgeting process that we've caught. Anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Summerfield and seconded by Mr. Bose. All in favor, say
Aye.
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 Any nays? Motion passes 6-0. Again, the fund name and number is 1,000 general fund, an amount of $5,000. This is raises for elected officials. 5 elected officials.
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask that. Which elected officials?
Myself, Belinda, Jennifer, Paige, and Tammy Lowry. So auditor, treasurer, assessor, recorder, and clerk.
Okay.
We didn't give them a raise?
You did in the budget hearings, but it wasn't advertised, so. we
Oh,
didn't do
okay.
it in
Any further discussion? Okay, motion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Ms. Brown, a motion? Second,
Second.
Mr. Summerfield.
Were those the only elected officials that were considered? I don't recall. Okay.
All right. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Fund name and number is 1,000 general fund. This is part-time help, an amount of $14,400. Explanation: part-time help that is used for historical research and development of a database for county property, regulated drains, right-of-ways, and easements. At this writing, November 1, 2023, over 400 scans of documents have been completed into Volume 3 of the Commissioner's Record Books and into year 1838. The present budget allotment of $12,000 at 20 hours per week will only pay for 6 weeks of work. And presented by Ron.
I think, did you say
Is that
12,000?
1,200 or 12,000?
1,200.
1,200.
Ron's here in case we have any questions. This will, I guess, first one, Ron, would be this estimate or this amount of money, $14,000, takes you through what time period?
Through the end of the year,
Through the end of 2024?
2024.
Okay.
And that will complete the project?
Oh, no.
Was this in the budget to begin with,
Yes.
that we looked at
For
in the fall?
2023, it probably was not, but we added it as an additional appropriation, correct?
You want an update?
Sure,
Come up there.
please. That way for the recording.
Ron Mack, County Surveyor. This money pays for my part-time help that's researching the Commissioner record books to help establish where the right-of-ways and the legal descriptions for the regulated drains and easements. We're through about 1855 right now. We have over 800 scans. And what we're finding is the first part of our history in Vermilion County was very tumultuous. We had several roads that were petitioned to be opened, then they were petitioned to be closed, and then petitioned to be reopened again. And what we're learning is the terminology that they're using is helping us to determine where we go from now. I really think when we get into it, we're going to find that the county road map from about 1880 to about 1920 is where we're going to settle as being mostly correct. Now, some of the descriptions prior to, let's say 1850, are pretty colorful because they say the road width will be 1 wagon width, or it'll be so 2 wagons can pass. Well, I have an idea what that is, but I think where we're headed is when we get to that 1880 to 1920 time frame, we're going to find that it should settle down to a point where we can determine in this section, these roads are supposed to be this width. And I think we're going to find that that is merely the width of the road surface itself. And what's going to happen is we will have to go out and sample those roads and measure those roads in that section and come back to the commissioners and say, okay, it looks like the general dimensions of the roads in this section are going to be 32 feet wide with 10 feet easement on each side. But the issues we're having right now, we've already discovered, like for instance, when you go east of 63 from the paper road, in that section, the roads go from 30 feet to 33 feet, and no mention about the right-of-ways. And as soon as you cross 63, and we haven't figured out why yet, the road widths automatically snap to 40 feet, and some roads are mentioned to have 45-foot right-of-ways. We don't know what that difference is or why that occurred yet. So as we're reading and learning, we're learning the thought process that these people were going through at the time and helping us determine, you know, we can come back to the commissioners at some point in time and say, okay, section 2819.3, those roads typically are this feet with this right of way, and we would make that recommendation that they adopt that at that time.
I don't think they can adopt that. I mean, it has to be in writing in those books.
Yeah,
They can't
but
just-
it's just a road. But I'm talking about the right of ways on the side is where we're running into.
Well, the
issues
right of way
with-
is the entire thing, the road and everything. So if it's 33 feet, that's a surveyor's rod laid right and left to make 33 feet.
But that's not how the statutes are being. The statutes are being interpreted as being road width, road surface only.
That's the law.
That's the law.
If you have no proof,
Right.
if you have no proof
And
of
then,
what it should
then
be.
it falls back to the apparent right of way, correct?
If you can find if you can find a record that says it's 45 feet
Right.
wide, then it's 45 feet wide. If you cannot find a record of its width, then it is limited to the travel portion of the road.
Right, right. And so then, once we get this, then we want to go through the easement book and make sure that those easements are also in there, because we're finding a lot of references to easements that people don't know is there.
Well, just so I'm clear, the right of way is what we're after. An easement is a legal document, am I right?
Right, and there's an
Okay.
easement book where that will be listed.
Well, the commissioners would create right of ways. I don't know if they'd have easements, would they?
They could if they acquired them, I suppose.
Required, yeah.
They wouldn't have, like all the roads were acquired, at some point, a landowner prior to the county owned the property.
It had to be petitioned.
Petitioned.
They
that-
could give it up by petition to have a road established.
Right.
So I see it sometimes, like NDOT will go out when they need to do something and they'll get easement to
Mhm.
expand their right of way.
Yeah.
It's
Like we have-
essentially it's still the same idea, you're still doing it because you want
To extend a right of way, but I
Extend.
mean, most of these were probably, in the beginning, weren't easements to extend
Well,
anything.
And there
They
was
were
probably no right of way
creation.
even mentioned. You know,
But,
that-
you know, there could be, you know, it depends how it's worded,
Yeah.
so.
So, but I think when we get to that 1880 to that 1920 timeframe, things will pretty well fall into place. And then we have to come back and let the commissioners make their decisions on what they want to make those right-of-ways and what they want to make those road surfaces. It's really a complicated thing when you really sit down and start
Well, I mean,
thinking about it.
if it's in the book, though, if it's in the commissioner record books, there's no decisions for them to make.
No, but
If there's nothing,
if
then
they
there's
want a
nothing, they would have to go out and buy future right of way.
If they want a uniform, make it uniform, then they'll have to make some decisions.
It'll probably never be uniform.
Yeah, but some of the stuff before 1820 is so accurate, you could just take that and go look on the GIS and you can find that road just like that. But they're measured in chains and they're measured in poles and you gotta do the conversions and that kind of thing. So, we're getting there. And it's really turned out to be an interesting, and I think it's really gonna be beneficial to the county in the long run to know what this is, because I get 1 or 2 calls a week from somebody, what's the right of way here, what's the right of way there? And I have to just send those on to the commissioners, because I'm not gonna make that determination for them.
Is there an obligation for that, Scott, to,
No.
like, I frequently deal with that same question, and often I can't provide anything.
I can tell you when I have been to the surveyor's office sometimes, though, in Vigo County, and they have some records, and they have some
Yeah, what
index
they've
cards,
got,
and then they can.
and those are sometimes vague,
Right.
sometimes inaccurate. Typically, I've dealt with companies such as the phone company that wants to install something and over 8 miles or something, and they want to know what are the right of ways of all these
Yeah.
routes, and I don't have it. So we typically unlock the room and say, these are the commissioner's record books, and they send a couple of attorneys down. 2 days later, they've got everything they want, and they're happy.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works for me, but
We're trying to get, trying to circumvent a lot of that extra work if we
Right.
can, yeah. And all this really has become an issue since the fiber optic has come along and began tearing up field tile and began tearing up water lines and sewer lines and Cuga and around, and, you know, the drainage board needs to know where these things lay, and so it's just part of the puzzle that we're trying to piece together so we have a complete picture.
You have any idea how far this will take you at all? I mean, this 14,000?
I'm hoping we will be into the easement books and mapping those by that time.
if the books are commissioner record books, wouldn't the commissioners be responsible for determining where their own right-of-ways are? And whether or not it's been done to this day or not, is it fall upon the surveyor to be responsible for that and have that?
Well, no,
to spend the
actually,
money
I got
to-
started doing this from the perspective of the drainage board and the field tiles getting torn up that's going into county ditches and things like that. That's how I kinda got started into this. And, now I find out that over in Illinois, even now, the, solar companies are going ahead and retiling fields automatically before they start putting solar panels in, because they don't know where the tiles are and they don't want it to be responsible for replacing field tiles. So, we're just trying to be proactive here and get ahead of this.
I know, I'm just looking at it from a responsibility standpoint,
Yeah.
is that you've got your things you've got to do, and then typically, I know that, like the surveyor would have some records, but they aren't required to have those. They could, the ones I've seen, they have them, but they're not complete.
Mhm.
They just happen to be information that they have. Where they got it, they don't even know.
Yeah.
But,
I want to know where my, if I'm gonna put my name on something, I want to know where it came from.
It was always something that the commissioners approved the roads, even today. If there was a new subdivision that was built and there was a new road, the commissioners would approve that road to become a road in the county network. They would accept it into the system, and the highway department's responsible to maintain it. But that's kind of their records, you know.
Right.
I mean, I know what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to make it apparent and available. It's good information. There's no doubt. There's probably a bunch of different ways to handle it. I didn't know if maybe they would have money to already have money enough to pay for that, such a thing, versus an additional.
Well, wouldn't that be the company's responsibility that's putting in the phone line or whatever to pay a surveyor, an attorney to come and research that? I mean, is that our responsibility to do that work for them?
That's typical, but
Well, the other issue, see, there's multiple parties that are involved in everything that want to know where the right-of-way is.
I understand.
And the
that.
county has an interest in knowing where its own right-of-way is too, in my opinion, such as if the highway department wants to widen a road because it's too narrow and they need to put some ditches in, how much room do they have? Well, if they can't prove it, then they have to buy the property off. They may have it, but they end up buying it double. Or, you know, they bought it again or something.
Right.
And that's not uncommon. I mean, the state's gone through that. Cities, towns, counties, everyone goes through that eventually. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the records don't exist or they don't know where they're at.
Right.
I think that's what this project is.
they've not gone through and gleaned that information out.
Yeah, and most of the, I'm just speaking from experience, most of the people that have work to do in the right-of-way, poles, pipes, whatever, they typically will pay to have that established because they don't want any mistakes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They absorb that cost.
And if they
right?
can't find the right-of-way, then they buy easements, and
Right.
that's common.
If you go down here by Goforth's house by Dana, those guys put those new poles in. They didn't check for right of ways or nothing. They put those poles right through the middle of the field tile, right through the middle of the tile in the ditch.
But
Sooner or
even
later, that
establishing right-of-way wouldn't necessarily establish where field
No, but if we'd
tile
had a
is.
record of where that was, maybe we could have had some effect on that, stop some damage ahead of time.
I know it's their responsibility to fix the field tile. They damaged it.
Yeah, good luck.
And normally they have a bond
Yeah,
where
good
they put the
luck.
poles in and you go out to their bonding company.
Yeah, but that's probably in real life.
It happens. Rick took care of Hillsdale Water, Split Township Water and Universal. We hit a field tile, you had to fix it.
Mhm.
All right. Any further discussion?
Anyway, that's what that's about, so.
All right. Well, thanks,
We're-
Ron.
okay.
Appreciate that. So the question before us is basically do we want Ron to continue with this project? I guess is what it does as far as part-time help. I mean, 20 hours a week. I think the gentleman's working 4 hours a day, something like that. So, you've gone through how many books of what's the total number of books?
We're in book 5 of 45, it's about 1860. And a lot of it is trying to interpret the language that they are using at that time and getting consistent.
Where are the scans going?
We have them loaded, we have a individual page scanner and we're loading those onto my desktop right now.
Do those books get bigger?
Huh?
Do those books get bigger?
They get bigger.
Yeah, they're all the same size, basically.
Well, you did,
They're about this wide and about that tall.
you did 11% of it for $1,200. So you take that times 9, I mean, that's 10.8 to complete the whole project.
Yeah.
Well, I mean-
The more we get done, the quicker it goes.
He spent more than $1,200
Right, we spent,
Yes.
in 2023.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he spent more than that.
How much?
Whatever,
started out with $1,200 and then we came back and got,
right.
29,
about 4 or 5, I think.
4,000.
Yeah.
4,000 or 5,000 more?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, what Ron, in my opinion, what Ron's asking for is not extravagant. I mean, it's basic.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. But I think the commissioner should pay for this.
Yeah, I mean,
It's their
that's,
information. It's in their books. They have probably a bigger reason to know this information than anybody, and I'm kind of wondering if they would have the funds to pay someone to work to do that in the office.
There's nothing budgeted.
you're gonna say it's a benefit for the commissioners more so than Ron, but Ron's also needing that information for some of his work too.
Right.
So,
It is the general fund.
and it is general fund, right? I moved that around, I can't find it now.
Have you ever had anybody look at, like a contractor, that if you had someone, is there any specialty companies that can send people that read real fast?
I talked to the lady at the Indiana Archives, mainly, we got on that, because I have so many very, very old brittle documents, I'm afraid to even open up until we get ready to scan them. And I asked her about that, and she, you know, there were several companies that could do that, but, that's kind of how the commissioners got on there, looking to scan documents, and I don't know exactly where the commissioners are in that process of scanning historical documents and things.
Well, I meant like pulling the information out. I don't care if they scan them. Scanning's one thing to me. Getting the information out for the right of way is something different to me.
Yeah, I want to have that picture as absolute proof in case Scott or somebody questions, you know, the numbers we come up with. I want to be able to show them.
Yeah,
exactly
I
what
agree
came
with
from
that,
page
but
and number and all that kind of stuff. So we're cataloging all of them by the book, the page, the number. the
so that's
date.
every piece of information,
Yeah.
whether it's right of way or not, is being scanned.
And for our purposes, we're just looking for the county roads and for the regulated drains.
You're not scanning the entire document.
No,
Okay.
just the county roads and the regulated drains. That's all we're after.
You said that scanned to your desktop, where ultimately is it gonna end up being stored?
When we get them all put together, they'll go onto the server.
Okay.
And I suspect since my desktop is backed up to the server.
I was gonna say, I hope it's
suspect
backed up
probably on
now.
the
You might
server.
lose it
I'm not a
tomorrow.
computer guy, I don't.
Probably be worth finding out, it's an awful lot of information.
You might want to
I've had that
contact
happen.
EAS or
Hmm.
whoever's doing that and figure out who's backing up what, because all your work could be lost in a moment.
All right, I'm looking for a motion, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Mr. Bose? Second?
Second it.
Okay. Mr. Summerfield? Okay, any further discussion? If not, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay? Okay. All right, motion passes 5-0, or 5-1. All right. All right, we'll try to get to the health department now. And we'll come back to you, Ron. All right, additional appropriation, health department. We're looking for $193,825.85. This money was collected by the Indiana State Department of Health for the vaccine administration. And this we do need a vote on, is that right? Yep. So do we have any questions for the health department? This is, again, this is money that was already sent to us from the State Department of Health for vaccine administration. It's nothing that we haven't seen before.
Just taking it out and putting it back in.
Yeah.
Still spending money on COVID, huh?
I don't think this is
Safe?
necessarily for COVID, this is just,
It's just
yeah,
for all
yeah, any kind of
vaccines.
vaccines.
Oh, it's all vaccines?
Child vaccines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We are offering adult vaccines as well now, not just child vaccines. We're taking, all insurances so that anybody in Vermillion County can come to get a vaccine at the health department, not just, children on Medicaid.
What was your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Dr. Paula Martin.
Okay, I'm sorry, just for the record, just so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
uh,
Come up there.
No, I think we got it. Thank you, Paula.
Just so we don't have questions later, someone says, who was that? Because they can't see, I think the camera doesn't quite catch that area. I may be wrong.
And this is not every vaccine, this is majority of the vaccines, correct?
This is, vaccines from past 2 years, not including all of 2023. But 2 years prior to that, so.
Okay. All right.
This is money that was sent from an in, taken out, and we're putting it back in. Okay.
All right, looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Thank you, Mr. Costello.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I have a motion by Mr. Costello, a second by Mr. Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any of those opposed say no. All right, motion passes 6-0. Also have another one from the Health Department. Fund name School Liaison, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, it's, this is, I'll read the explanation. A new grant for school liaison. This grant will help both school corporations with public health needs within the schools and education materials and training such as CPR for staff and students. And this has been presented by Ms. Market. All right. I don't know. You may want to come up here. We may have more questions for you.
Okay.
Pardon? Okay. Is this for more than one individual or just one?
This is for all the school systems in the county.
Yeah, but as far as a full-time equivalent, is this just one employee or
It's one employee, this is part-time.
part-time? Okay.
But we are going to split it up between two. We're going to split it up between Lori, our health educator. She works with the schools, as well as Deb Missoura, the public health nurse, works with the schools as well. So that would go, just the 15,000 would go to their, how they'll keep track of their hours, and that would be their pay for that. And we may not use all of that, and if we don't, then we're going to put that back into the schools.
Okay. And
And
again,
then-
this is a new grant.
This is a new grant. We just kind of divided up between operating expenses, equipment, and contractual services, and then tried to figure out a way to benefit every school, including the Christian school in Dana. And so we took out some expense for the health department, and then schools can receive up to, right now, $6,000, which could be more. Just, we have to wait and see. They have to submit their kind of wish list and research the cost and everything, present that to us, and then we would write them a check. They have until June 30th to spend that money, and if they don't spend it all, then it comes back to this fund. And
Okay.
this fund they're going to keep in place, so anything that comes back stays in the fund, rolls over, and then next year we get more. So then, if we have left over, then we just have more to give next year.
What's an example like what school would ask for?
Well, it has to be health related.
Sure.
So anything that has to do with PE, sports, activities, like I said, the CPR training.
Yeah, CPR.
If they need equipment for gym class, maybe, even putting some healthier snacks in the school to
Okay.
eat, things like that.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Yeah.
So this will go to the school superintendents and then they'll contact their group locally? Okay.
Well, it'll go to,
I mean notification on how to apply for the grant?
They
From-
don't
from the
have
health
to
department?
apply.
They don't
All they
have to
have to
apply.
do is sign a memorandum of understanding with us.
Okay.
And we will forward the money to them. And the way we've got it figured out, the 2 middle school, high schools, maybe $6,000 apiece for them. The elementary in North Vermillion, I hear, has not very many kids at all, and then Dana, the entire school has not very many. So we kind of split that money, the $6,000, between those two, and the other 2 elementaries would still also get $6,000.
Okay.
So, trying to figure out a fair way to divvy it up, and then if our expenses don't come up to the 8,000, then we'll put that back out too.
All right.
Do you know if the schools have those life backs? Are they,
What is it?
the life backs for choking?
Central Elementary does in Clinton.
I couldn't tell you about
Good
North
question for
Main.
Deb, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'd like to see them all have.
Yeah, there's, I
Couple,
don't know if you guys are familiar with what that is. It's a choke device. It's a device that helps expel someone's choking, and I believe my son goes Central, so they had a deal before the end of the year where schools could apply for that and get that free. The company would just send them one. I don't know what schools might have done that. I know Central did. But we actually have those at our house and one in our car. So,
Yeah,
but
and,
they're pretty amazing
Yeah,
devices,
they are.
very cheap,
Are
and
they?
very easy to use. Yeah, they're not expensive at all. It's well worth the money.
What are they called?
Yeah, so
Life
that would be
back.
something they could request.
Yeah, LifeVac. It's just it's like a suction device that you put over your
Okay.
face, and it helps.
Okay.
Kind of like
And
reverses
we
the
could
effects
also
of choking.
provide equipment for like the nurse's office, if they need to replace a nebulizer machine for the asthmatics, or just buy Tylenol to keep on hand, or even maybe have some spare inhalers in case a kid comes and he didn't bring it to school that day, or he happens to be out. We could have one right there available for him.
How about EpiPens? Can the nurses administer EpiPens and keep those on staff, or with the staff of the nurse's office?
They have to be prescribed.
Yeah, prescription.
So
By
they can't.
the
Okay, so a nurse is not able to
primary care.
determine.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
They'll have them, but they have to be.
Most
for the
students
certain
would
kids.
deliver.
Students, their
They
parents
have to
provide
come
them.
from their
Yeah.
prescribing physician
okay.
in order to get through there.
They do have emergency pens in the offices. We've got, because I have just got them for North Vermillion, I'm waiting for them to come in. So they do have stock there. And we have got the rules and regulations, the protocols are all in the schools. It's put out by the state of Indiana, that if this event happens, this is what the nurse would do. And then, of course, you're going to be calling 911.
Sure.
If you have it. Yes, they do have adult and children. And we've got them in South, and all of the elementary, high and middle. North had not wanted that up to this point. So they have decided to get on board too and have the emergency stock there. So.
Will schools
I'm in the
keep
process of
record?
Getting that. It should be here, I would say, within the next couple of weeks. I talked to him before Christmas, and the supplies that came in, there was some way for them to send it to us so we can get it to them.
Do schools keep record of who the students are that would need them? I mean,
Yes, I was a nurse at the middle school. That was
Okay.
last year. And yes, we've got, all of the information.
Okay.
We have the protocol, the emergency protocols for that, for the nebulizers, for Narcan. So yes, and we do know the children that have problems. But you've always got the one one kiddo that, may have developed a problem that you didn't realize, and that would be where this emergency stuff would come in.
All right. Looking for a motion.
I'll
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Summerfield made the motion, Mr. Brown, second. Okay, the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Vote 6-0. All right, Emergency Preparedness Grant, 8111. Explanation to set up emergency preparedness grant for grant year 2020, January 2024 to June 30th of 2024. This additional appropriations for the amount of $24,109.29.
And, again, Lori Swinford is the, public health coordinator. She's on the emergency preparedness team, and so part of that goes to pay her salary, and then we have a storage unit, with, lots of supplies in there, should there be an emergency. Any equipment we need to buy, and then she goes to a lot of meetings, conferences, things like that, so. This is just,
It's kind of part of her salary and part of the overall program.
yes, and that's been a continuing thing.
Okay. Looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jeff, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. A motion by Mr. Bose and a second by Mr. Brown. Call for the vote, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And I believe the last one for you guys is the vaccine grant, 8134.
Mm-hmm. This is money that has rolled over, from previous, grant. And this will be the last of that money, because now all of our vaccine comes out of our Health First Indiana Fund. And this money we have until June to use it, so this won't be something you'll be seeing again.
This is money from the Indiana Department of Health.
Mhm.
This were the source.
Okay, looking for a motion?
What vaccines are we talking about? I'm sorry.
No, you're all right.
Mhm.
What vaccines are we talking about here? Is this just
Any vaccine.
any vaccines again?
Yeah.
Grant.
Any vaccine that we offer, which is all of them.
Does this tie in with the one we approved?
That was the one this is money that came from the state. The other
As
is
a
money that we
grant.
earned by giving vaccines.
I see.
Say
Okay.
on average, there's a $15 administration fee.
Right.
And so that administration fee, we don't charge any more than the vaccine costs us. And then we do have a $15 administration fee that's anywhere you go, you get that. And so that's where all that other money came from.
But this was a grant originally, right?
Correct.
Right, it was a grant originally. I think this was the original grant from last year for vaccines, and then this is what's left.
And the state doesn't require you to return if not used by
No, we
just
don't
by
have to
this
return
date?
it, but we do have to use it by June.
Okay. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Costello and a second by Mr. Bose. I'll call for the vote. All those approving this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those that are opposed, motion passes 6-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. All right. I'm gonna go to fund name 9103 certified shares. Let's see, I might be getting out of order here. Get back to the agenda.
Well, it's all still additional appropriation.
Yeah, it's still the same thing. Okay, we're moving on then.
Just a lot of them.
Okay, you have in your folders there. I'm looking at that, the $176,000.
Got it.
There's two of them. Help us out here. Help.
9103 is certified shares, 4099 is highway capital improvement.
Right.
This is the increase that the state is giving in the
Crossroads.
Crossroads grant.
Community crossings.
Crossings grant.
Community crossing.
And we advertised in both places because we weren't sure where you guys want to take it from.
But we only will be approving one.
Correct. After talking with Scott a little bit more, he and I looked at what was incoming and what's outgoing. You guys obviously can make the decision, but the
Right.
9103 seems to be the favorable dollar amount.
And that's preferred, just for ease and simplicity.
It will replenish itself faster.
Right.
It has less commitments, it's got more money, so.
Okay. So I don't, before we just have a consensus of which one we want to,
So we're only gonna do one.
we're only going to do one.
Does everyone understand exactly what this is for?
Matching grant.
Matching,
Yeah,
put money
so
in,
for-
you get money back for the
amount of
highways.
the grant went up, the amount the state's allowing county to apply for has increased, so
This will be the additional part
this
to
would
that.
be the difference between what we thought the grant
Match.
possibility was, and, so now, if they don't get the grant, then.
Right.
Keep the money.
There's 2 rounds, I think, every year.
Yeah, getting into the first one's a better one, but,
Yeah, timing wise, it's better getting it done.
Yeah.
So.
but yeah, there are two. And I think the county of this size is a 25% match. So essentially, for every dollar you spend on paving a road, we're paying 25 cents. And, which is a pretty good deal. I mean, you cannot pave, I don't know what the current, I ought to know this, but I don't. If it's 100,000 a mile or some kind of amount, so it doesn't take long for $1 million to go away when you're paving. So when you can do 4 times as much, every person in the county benefits from that. It's wise
Exactly.
spending them. I mean, this could go away next, you don't know. This has been an ongoing program since 2016 or 17, somewhere in that range. So it's been great. It's really helped out a lot of counties. I think it's, as long as we can afford it. Now, obviously, if, they could increase the award to $100 million, at some point, we can't afford the match at any percent.
So we can approve this and receive an additional, I'm going to say, $500,000.
Yes, sir.
Or we could do nothing and just do with what we already have.
Yeah, or
As you
spend
said,
$500,000.
we'll spend another $176,000, we can get $500,000.
Right,
Ish.
right.
So,
And this is for
I mean, we don't have to do
resurfacing.
this, but this would be nice to do.
Yeah, you're missing money.
Yeah, we'll be missing opportunity.
This money just goes to roads only?
Yeah, it's,
You can use it for some sidewalks sometimes, crosswalks, things like that, but you're not gonna run into a lot of that kind of.
typically too, you could also use it for culverts and bridges. I don't know about this particular round. In the past, I know that I'm dealing with, some in the past where the community crossings, as part of the paving project, we included some pipes and things that needed replaced along the route, and that got covered. They approved it. So, yeah, I think you can actually even do bridges, perhaps.
Can you?
We need them.
I thought just culvert.
Probably culverts.
I think we've got two funded, two bridges through CCNG.
Good deal.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the legal definition of a bridge of 20 feet or greater, or if it looks, there's bridges and then there's culverts and then there's ones that are one and look like the other, but, yeah, either way, I think mostly though, Vermillion County uses it for resurfacing, I guess is the correct term. And that typically involves an inch and a half of hot mix asphalt, typically paved over a road that needs it. Now you can also use it for pavement preservation, like chip and seal, micro sealing, different types of things like that. Those are generally just preservation for keeping a road nice that's already nice. But if you don't have a lot of those, you gotta pave them. So.
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Doesn't handicap curbing and that kind of stuff also play into some of this
If
here?
it's in, so if you're in an area where that's there, sure, yeah, you can cover that, curbs. It actually covers quite a bit. It just depends, but for most of the, I think, projects that commissioners here will look at will be rural connector roads, things like that. You won't be doing sidewalks in a town, like an unincorporated town that may have sidewalks or something. We don't think we have it.
So I have a motion by Mr. Summerfield to approve fund name and number 9103 certified shares.
I think that's what he said.
Yep. And just verify
Yeah, I said all that.
so we're clear.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's the reason why I'm saying this.
Yep.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay.
If it needs it.
Okay, we do.
Yep.
All right. So we have a motion by Mr. Summerfield and a second by Mr. Brown to fund 9103 certified shares in an amount of $176,000. And this will be for the community fund matching grant or what? Crossroads, yeah.
Community crossing.
Thank you. All right.
We know.
Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And if you would, take the other one and destroy it.
Do we have to have a motion to not consider that one, or is it just go
No.
away? Okay.
Dial
I don't think
for
so.
next meeting.
We just won't break
Get
it
it
up.
open.
We took care of it.
Yeah. I ripped mine up. Fund name and number 2700 Vermillion County Drainage Board. This is another one that wasn't advertised in the original budget. This is for professional services in an amount of $50,000.
Is this the loan that Ashley was talking about?
No,
No.
I don't believe so.
But this already in and taken out, or this new?
No, this is, just didn't get advertised in the budget yet.
Okay.
It's all there.
Make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Yes. After that.
I'll
It's one of the
second.
same thing, it was something we just hadn't, if it's not in there, maybe do what we did the year before, it
Doesn't show up.
doesn't show up.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Costello and a second by Mr. Bose. And those all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any of those that are opposed, say nay. Motion passes 6-0.
Yeah.
Same thing on the next one?
Yep, everything it out.
These are all the things.
Okay. This is 8950 ARP ARPA funds. And we're looking at $2,100,000. Again, this wasn't advertised in the original budget. Professional services is payment for joint. So have they? Nope. Okay. That's the reason why we probably missed it.
Well, again, this is the first year that we had actually budgeted, so we kind of go off of last year's, and then the new ones kind of
Mm-hmm.
occasionally get missed. This is one of the new ones that got missed.
We budgeted, but didn't advertise.
Correct.
Right. So it's budgeted, just wasn't advertised, so.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Summerfield. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 6-0. All right, next on the agenda. Have no old business, new business. Assume this is election of officers, is that what we're saying? So we normally, first meeting of the year, we vote for a president and a vice president. So I guess we're going to open nominations. We'll open the nominations for president, and then we'll do vice president. Where's Ashley when you need her?
Yeah. But she's not here, she can't turn it down.
That's right.
She's here on text.
I'm going to say, we're going to hear that.
I
We're going to
already
hear
told
from her
her.
shortly.
I'll nominate Ashley.
Okay.
She did a good job,
Yeah.
and she can't turn it down, so.
Well, depending on the Wi-Fi connection, you should probably hurry up then.
She's, yeah, just don't answer your phone.
There you go. All right, we're giving her plenty of time, right? All right.
You second?
Pardon? Got a motion, got a second, okay. So anybody want to move the motion, or the nominations be closed?
Yeah.
All right, so we have one individual running for office as president, Ashley James. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can we say motion past 7-0?
Thought we would.
Okay, 20
All right. Thank you, Ashley.
for volunteering.
Yep. Vice President, need the nominations be open?
Nominate
Phil-
Rick Weir.
Yeah, I can say feel free to nominate everybody.
I'll second that.
I'll third
Okay.
it.
Does a good job.
I'll accept, but I'm also willing to be opposed. All right. Anybody? Anybody else?
No.
Okay. I guess I'll accept. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
When I looked at the statute, just to make sure those were the only two offices that we have to elect, I also discovered you're only required legally to have 2 meetings a year.
Really?
Yes, so think about that.
We can have another one tomorrow and we get done?
You have to have an organizational meeting, you have to have a budget adoption hearing,
Oh,
technically,
okay.
meeting, you don't have to have any other meeting. Now,
Really? That's hard to believe.
That's crazy.
you can have special meetings and stuff, I was just like, that's fine, we should just do that.
What a mess.
So we're gonna have a January meeting, we'll come see you guys in October.
There you go. All right, we'll move on with the meeting, and we have board appointments.
What's the?
We have some resumes that I know that were sent to you in an email. We probably have some other information. There's no one present that is here in the audience that is running for those. I thought if they were, we might have them come up and introduce themselves. We can recognize them. That might be something that these candidates may want to do in the future. Might be easier to put a name and a face together sometimes. So, first one on our list today is the Alcohol Beverage Board, and I have to look here on my phone. Let's see. I think there is only one that has submitted an application, and I got to get the right one.
Cynthia Myers.
Cynthia Myers, yeah. And she has been on the board for a very long time. I'm just kind of reading from her resume. Anyway, she's been on for a very long time and has been on the board for years, and so therefore I know how it works and able to direct people to the right person if I am unable to answer their questions. So anyway, I think we have a good candidate there for that.
Okay.
So.
I'll nominate Cynthia Myers.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. So we got a motion by Mr. Summerfield and a second by Mr. Brown. Fill this board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 6-0.
I believe
Alright.
she's appeared before the council in the past.
Before, I think,
Is that in our packets?
yeah, or not, we don't have the paper form, it's on our
It's
email. Just a second here. That's John Moore. Okay, Brandon. He's a control system engineer, he says. He says, I'm interested in helping plan for the county's future, especially by enacting ordinances that will help protect and support Hoosiers in our area. His qualifications, he says, I have an excellent background in public relations, having been a teacher for over 10 years, and I have a technical experience as an engineer that will help me navigate the complexities of community planning. I also serve on the Redevelopment Commission for 2 years and have experience working with the county government. And Amanda's says, I want to help this county grow in any and every way possible. Born and raised in Vermilion County with nothing but the county's best interest at heart. Oops. I'm looking for experience. Okay, just a second here. As far as her qualification for this position was just born and raised in Vermilion County.
I believe she was on the 911 board.
I can say I know she was on the 911 board.
And I don't know if that was this previous year or current year. I'm not on the board, so I don't attend the meetings. So I don't know.
Yes.
And he was on,
The other.
he was on redevelopment.
Yeah.
Brandon was on redevelopment and she was on 911.
I would nominate Brandon Ruth.
Okay, I have a motion to nominate Brandon Ruth.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Right, he was on what board? I'm not familiar with that.
Redevelopment Commission.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I know Brandon lives out by me, and I know Amanda from years past. I think both are qualified. That they're capable of doing some, but Brandon did list his qualifications. So.
Yes.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Summerfield. Do I have a second?
Jeff.
I did.
Jeff, okay. To nominate Brandon Ruth as Area Planning Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'll say nay.
Nay?
I
Okay.
don't know.
Motion passes 5-1 to put Brandon Ruth on the Area Planning Commission. Okay, Property Tax Adjustment Board of Appeals. We only have, I'll say, one individual. Her name's Sandra Whitaker, and she currently is on that board. And she is asked to be reinstated. That's the only one. So we only have one to fill. So I'm looking for a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay. Motion by Marty.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda. Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Brown and a second by Mrs. Brown for Sandra Whitaker as a Property Tax Adjustment Board of Appeals. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And we also have 2 appointments for the Redevelopment Commission. We have John Moore and also Kelly Somerville. Council has 2 openings. We have 2 individuals that are interested. And looking for a motion to accept John Moore and Kelly Somerville to that appointment.
Are both on the board now? You both?
Yeah, both on the board.
I think John, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I think both have done a good job, as far as I know.
We're heading that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think John's been on the board for quite a number of years.
And I believe if I remember, according to his thing, and I could get it out, he's been on the board since its inception, so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
puts forth quite the effort for
He
that.
does do a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very knowledgeable. All right. All right, call for a vote.
Who had a second?
Yep. Mr. Bose and Mr. Oh, no, that's the
No,
other
I-
one, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
I messed up.
Let's stay on this one.
It's okay.
Mr. Bose, Ms. Brown. Okay.
Tammy.
Tammy. I keep calling her Rhonda tonight. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. All right. We have a motion and a second, and I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Those abstaining?
I probably should.
Okay. Motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4. 401. 1 abstention. Whatever.
Be fine.
I can't count tonight. Yeah, 5. 5-1. How was it counting me? All right, so we're done with that. All right, now we'd like to have Mr. Ron come back up and Armour Morgan regulated drains. I think this is information only, is that right?
I don't, just to keep you, I know you get my monthly report, but the Drainage Board is looking at all the regulated drains that have really not been taken care of since the law went into inception in 1965. We're evaluating 1 drain a year at a time. And the first one we are starting with is the Armour Morgan drain because we know it's going to be the most difficult and the most detailed that we have to work with. All the rest of them are basically open ditches. They'll probably be pretty much cut and dry. But the position we're taking is that since the law went into inception and the previous drainage boards and surveyors never did anything to follow the law, we're going to put the decisions, what we're going to do with those regulated drains, back to the landowners. They can choose whether or not they want to have these regulated drains reestablished or not. The Armour Morgan drain is going to be a difficult choice for them because it's about 2.5 miles of underground tile. That was part of the tile was first laid in 1944 and it's been added to over the years. That tile is failing and it's just not carrying the water. And of course when 63 went, the tile is located north of 32 and runs along 63 up to County Road 1450. So anyway, the landowners know that if they want to reestablish that drain and start contributing to the watershed fund that maintains that drain, they're also going to have to pay for the reconstruction of that drain. That's the engineering study that you allowed me to do in November, December. There was one mistake on the summary that I sent you, the engineering study. The total cost of the project was 1.4. The estimate is at 1.4, not 2.8 million. They screwed their decimal points up. But when you look at that, you think, well, that's 1.4 million over about 1,200 acres. But when you do the math, it comes down to about $60 an acre. And that's if they do a 20-year commitment. So what will happen is, if they vote to do it, then at some point in time, we have to go after funds to reconstruct that drain.
We as in who?
We as in the Drainage Board. Okay. The Drainage Board, the discussions I have, we have two primary sources of funds. One is the Indiana Bond Bank, and the other is the Indiana Revolving Cash Fund. And both of these will issue bonds to cover the construction of the drain. The county will not hold the bonds. But if an Indiana Bond Bank does it for us, they will market those bonds to banks for us. If we use the Indiana Revolving Cash Fund, then right now we're talking to Old National. They're real familiar with this program. They've done all kinds of projects like this. They hold the bonds. And so what happens is, once that bond is issued and we're paying for the reconstruction, the landowners will make their payments, per acre payments, to the county. The county passes those funds on to the bank, and the bank does whatever it is the bank does with them. If we use the Indiana Revolving Cash Fund, which is the recommendation of both the Indiana Bond Bank and the municipal advisor, Scott, correct me if I get my terminology turned around. There are some upfront costs to that application to apply for those funds. And the Indiana Bond Bank told me it would be $37,000 plus the fees of a municipal advisor. And they're really not interested in doing it because $1.4 million to them is pocket change. They said our overhead and our expense doing that for your county in this project really is not in your best interest. And that's where they and the municipal advisor attorney that I talked to both recommended, hey, do the revolving cash fund if you're going to do it. And this is all if. But if we get to that point, then we have to come up with some money to do the application process. That requires additional engineering, that requires an asset management plan, that requires the municipal advisor to do a ton of legal stuff that you have to do when you issue bonds. And he told me, he said, counties that are engaging in this, the way things are done most often is that the county council will loan the money to the Drainage Board to pay for these upfront fees, and then when the bonds are issued, the county council is repaid. He says, or if that doesn't happen, the second best way to go is that they will issue anticipatory bonds. Is that the right term?
Close. Bond
Close.
anticipation note, called BAN.
Yeah, okay. And that will cover for all the engineering and all the application fees and even the construction, and then that amount of money is rolled over into the final bond offering. Either way, because these terms are going to exceed 60 months, then it is not a commissioner issue, it becomes a council issue, and the council has to approve this project and has to approve the bond issues and those types of things. So all I'm doing is just, hey, there's the story. If anything happens, 8, 9, 10 months away at the earliest, before all this gets put together. And I just want to introduce you guys to that, what may be coming down. So if you have any questions, Scott probably knows more about it than I do. But I've spent a lot of hours on the phone with the attorneys and with the bankers and with the USDA, and this kind of seems to be the path that we're on if the landowners want to do that. Now, when we get down to looking at the $60 an acre, that sounds like, boy, that's a lot of money. But rule of thumb, for every acre that's tiled, there's a 20% increase in yield. So if you have 200 acre corn and you increase it by 20%, that's 40 bushels. At $7 in corn, that's $280. So you're looking at making an additional $280, you know, spending 60 and netting $220. So,
So what you're sharing with us tonight, the way I understand it, is this is if this comes to fruition.
It gets, I may
And this
need
is just a
your
heads up
permission.
that the council might be involved in something.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe
So there's
alone.
no commitment at this time.
Yeah.
It's just information
No,
only.
no commitments, no anything. And the county's not on the hook for the money. I mean, the county is the facilitator. We're the one that's putting the deal together. And then the landowners are actually paying for it.
Unless we need to help with the loan process at a later date.
If, for the application part of the
Right.
process. And if not, then we do the band or bond or whatever it was
Right.
Scott referred to.
Band,
I
yeah.
thought sure that attorney told me bond, anticipatory bond.
And you may have.
Okay. So anyway, I just let you know that, you know, we're not twiddling our thumbs. We are trying to get some things done and bring the county in compliance with the law that really hasn't been done for a great many years. So
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
that's it.
All right, we're to that point of the meeting that we're open for public comment. There's not many out there.
We have a.
I don't know whether you have any here. Pardon?
A document from the Hamilton Center, or is that just?
I think that's information we need right now.
Yeah, they mailed it to council and commissioners.
Oh, okay, for referencing just general information. Okay.
So, no public comment? All right. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
All right. Well, the meeting's adjourned at 7:56-ish. All right. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Do we have any